I have the same problem with the 10 kW model. Unit starts for 10 seconds, then shuts off. However, when I test the OHM at the voltage regulator, I get full continuity. It tests as a direct ground. That means it should not work, but I can get it to run by adding a 12-volt jumper wire to the natural gas fuel silenoid to hold it open. When I do this, it runs continuously and generates 220 volts, like it should. It is obvious that some sensor is shutting it down. I have already replaced the main control board and voltage regulator with no effect. Original thread of other person's question is as follows: I have a 7 kW Briggs and Stratton Home generator, natural gas, and it runs for approx 10 seconds and shuts off, and in a few seconds starts up again for 10 seconds. I have installed a new controller and the SME thing happens. The digital display fist showed A.C. 60 and then changed to 0. There is no fault code showing. When I disconnect the 230V supply, the generator runs for 10 seconds. And then shuts off and then starts for another 10 seconds. I also suspect that the battery charger is not working when the display reads 0. Submitted 2 years ago. Category: Small engine.
Hello, I'm Gina and I'm a moderator for this topic. We have been working with our professionals to try to help you with your question. Sometimes it may take a bit of time to find the right fit. I was checking to see if you had already found your answer or if you're still needing assistance from one of our professionals. Please let me know if you wish to continue waiting or if you would like for us to close your question. Also remember that JustAnswer has a multitude of categories to help you with all your needs from pet to legal. Thank you, Gina, moderator.
I do still need help. One of your pros answered a question to someone else and I saw that my problem was similar. His name was Hank F. and he is listed as technician in your small engine category. I thought I was asking him, but I see that he is offline. He seemed to know a lot about the Briggs and Stratton Home standby generators. Is there any way that I could be put in touch with him?
Hello Paul, thank you. We will continue to look for a professional to assist you. Hank usually comes online anytime between now and 10 p.m. EST. I will send this over to him so he can take a look. Smile, please let me know if I can be of any further assistance while you wait. Best, Gina, moderator.
Great, I would prefer him and can wait. Thanks.
Hello. My name is XXXXXXXXXXX. I am going to assist you with this. There is an LED on the control panel that flashes when the genset shuts down. How many times is the LED flashing?
I have a display that gives codes. My fault code is FC4, which is engine fails to start. It tries to start and does run for about 10 seconds, then shuts down. It will do this over and over about 6 times, then the fault code comes on. Always FC4. In testing, I can make the unit continue to run if I add a jumper wire from the 12-volt battery plus to the fuel solenoid control. I do get 220 volts from the generators at this time. I should verify this next time I go check the unit, but if I disconnect the jumper, it shuts down. Something is telling the motherboard to shut down. I have replaced the voltage regulator and motherboard in attempts to fix the problem. It seemed to work for a while after I changed the motherboard, but it has recently gone back to the original problem, FC4. My problem is that I installed this unit on a rooftop and used a crane to put it there. I cannot take this unit to a shop, as B&S Techs wants me to do. One more weird thing. When I tested the wires that go to the voltage regulator for OHMS, they show full continuity, like a direct short, but the unit give 220 volts when I jumper the fuel solenoid valve. Again, I need to get back out there to verify this, but I remember getting it to work by jumpering it. I'm thinking of taking the advice you gave to another client, who had a 7 kW model, and check the brushes.
Never go by what I told other people. If your genset is producing 240 volts, there is nothing wrong with your brushes. I need to know a couple things here. 1. Exactly where and how are you measuring the 240 volts? 2. When testing, do you have the circuit breakers of the genset on or off? 3. Exactly how did you test the low oil pressure switch?
I need to go back up and redo tests. I measured the 220 volts by turning off the 50 amp breaker on the unit's control panel, so it did not send power to the transfer switch, and tested the wires that go to the breaker from the generator. As for the oil pressure switch, I just pulled the wire off and let it hang in the air. FC2 is the code for oil pressure, and I did not get that code. We'll take suggestions for the next time I go to the unit and do whatever tests you think will help narrow down the problem. Thank you.
I think you have just solved your own problem. For the control board to sense the AC output of the generator, the circuit breakers must be turned on. If they are off, the control board will think the generator is not producing power, and will shut the engine down.
No, that is not the problem. The breaker is a backfeed to the transfer switch, so it, the motherboard, receives power from the generator even when it is off. If that was the case, it would just work when in auto mode and when I manually override a control panel. As I said, I need to get back out there and do the tests that you require. I have had mechanics up there and they are puzzled. They want me to take the unit down into a shop far, far away. I will if I have to, but want to try one more time before going to that expense. I really, really appreciate your help and know that this may take a couple more questions. I do not mind paying more to pick your brain. I can tell from the other question you answered that you know what you're talking about. Let's start over. Please tell me what info you need and what tests I should do, and I will go do them and report back to you.
This genset gets its voltage sense from the downstream side of the circuit breaker on the genset. The genset breakers must be on for the unit to stay running.
I've tested it both ways. Can I call you and explain better? I have had 2 small machine technicians out to look at it and they were from the B&S referral line, but never worked on large standby generators. They tried to fix it. I paid them for looking, but were unable to. I will go tomorrow and check with the breakers on. They were on when this problem started and I get the FC4 code. When I do a manual start, the breakers are on and I get the FC4 code. I only mentioned the turning them off because I have tried every way. Can we please start over?
Yes, we can start over. Open up the control box to access the control board. Inside, at the board, there are two single wires, marked E1 and E2. Leaving the wires connected to the board, test across them for 240 VAC while the genset is running for the few seconds. Is 240 volts present?
Thank you. I will do that tomorrow and get back to you.
Not a problem. Have you checked on this yet?
Went there and the battery was dead. Couldn't start it. Bought battery back with me and am charging. We'll try to get back out to unit this weekend. Sorry, I didn't expect this.
Not a problem, I run into stuff like this all the time.
I tried starting the unit today with a newly charged battery and it started right up and ran fine. Now 230 volts at E1 and E2. I did find a blown 315 amp. Quick blow fuse on the motherboard that was blown. I replaced it before I started unit. Do you know what that fuse is for?
The 15A fuse is the main system control fuse. It must have blown while you were changing the battery, because without it, the engine will not even crank.
No, this was a 315 amp quick blow fuse on the motherboard itself. Very small glass tube fuse. Smaller than what you would use on a car. Not the 15 amp. Newer style automotive fuse on the front of control panel. Could it have anything to do with why the battery wasn't trickle charging?
I don't recall ever seeing a fuse on the board itself. But yes, it could very well be for battery charging, since most battery charging is done at a 1/2, 2 amp rate.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.